a sister of St. Joseph of Chambéry. I'm the Superior General for our international congregation. The headquarters are here in Rome. I am also Vice President of the Union of International Superiors General, known as WISG, UISG. I'm on the Vice President of their Executive Board. So on behalf of WISG, we welcome you tonight, and we thank you for coming here to spend a little time with us. So what will happen is, first I would like to explain who UISG is. Then we will introduce ourselves, and then we'll proceed. Okay. So UISG, as I said, is the Union of International Superiors General. We represent 2,000 Superiors General throughout the world, and our focus is supporting religious life in all the ways possible, through leadership programs, formation programs, ongoing formation programs, but also reaching out to the very poor with some of our specialized works. Many of you know about Talitha Kum, which is the network for abused and trafficked women and men. You know, the whole trafficking network. It's massive what Talitha Kum has become, due to Sister Gabriella, who is the director, and all those who work with her. We also have the migrant project in Sicily, where we have 10 or 11 sisters working in 3 different communities with refugees. We work closely with USG, the Union of Superiors General Male, and so we gather often as boards, and we also meet with the Congregation for Religious twice a year. We have other programs besides the ones I mentioned, and in fact we are growing rapidly at UISG. I have been on the board now 6 years, and I have seen it go from a very good union with many good activities to an explosive union that is very dynamic and really reaching its loving arms out to every need possible that women religious are engaged in, and trying to help women religious continue to be engaged in this. And so I will now have each one sitting at the table present herself to you.
Good evening. I am Sister Lucy Mudoni Devi, and I come from Kenya, from East Africa. I am a Salesian sister of Don Bosco, and I am participating in the Synod as a delegate of the UISG. As a sister engaged with young people on the streets and in charitable institutions in Kenya. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, soy María Luisa Berzosa, religiosa de las Hijas de Jesús. Soy de Valladolid, pero estoy trabajando en Madrid. Trabajo en Interculturas, una fundación de Compañía de Jesús que está unida a Fe y Alegría en América Latina, donde he trabajado muchos años en este movimiento educativo, en Argentina sobre todo y en otros países. Y ahora estoy aquí en el Sínodo en la Comisión de Expertos y Expertas. Gracias.
Buonasera a tutti, sono Suora Alessandra Smerilli, vengo da Roma, non da molto lontano, suora salesiana ed economista. Insegno all'università e lavoro anche con molti giovani, penso sia questo il motivo per cui sono stata invitata al Sinodo come uditrice, sia per l'esperienza nel mondo del lavoro e dell'economia, sia per lo stare con i giovani.
I'm Sister Mina Guan, baptism name is Domina, so everybody knows that I'm Sister Domina. But Vatican took my Korean name, so I'm Sister Mina here. And I belong to a congregation of Sisters of St. Paul of Chartres. And in Korea, there are more or less 1,000 of my Korean sisters are working in Korea and also outside. And I take part in the, I am directress of the junior rate in my convent, and also I'm director of the counseling center in School of Medicine in the Catholic University of Daegu. Thank you.
Buonasera, good evening. I am Sister Nathalie Becker. I am a Xavier sister. My congregation, Xavier Missionary of Christ, is a small Ignatian congregation from France, so I am French. I have been involved in youth ministry for almost 30 years, and so the last 10 years I was working for the French Bishop Conference, first as national responsible for university pastoral care, and those last 6 years I have been the director of the National Office for Youth Evangelization and for Vocations, and I just finished my term 1 month ago. So I have been also very involved in the Synod preparation in France and in Rome. I was in the pre-Synod as general coordinator, and I am an observer at the Synod here.
And this is how we will proceed. 3 of us will share our experience of the Synod thus far. I will do so, Lucy will do so, and Maria Luisa will do so. After we finish those 3 short presentations, we will then open it up to any questions you might have for any of us that are here, sitting here. Okay? And so, my experience of the Synod thus far. I am from the United States, in case you did not realize that, and so my culture and my experience of church is different than the culture and experience of church of some of the other sisters at this table. As you know, in the United States, each diocese is different, each segment of the country is different, and church is different. In some areas, you know, there are many religious women, other areas there are few. Some areas there is great participation by the church, other areas there is less. So when I was asked to represent UISG at the Synod, I was excited and hopeful, and also wondered how I would do in a room with all those men. And so I want to tell you that it has been a wonderful experience. My experience at the Synod has been one of great hope, great energy. Every night I come home to our community and I am energized, even though I am tired. I am the oldest probably at this table. Anyway, and so why has it been an experience like of that for me? From the first 3 days, I could see that the cardinals, the bishops, the priests, the youth, all of them, the sisters that are present, really came with a sense of wanting to do something new, a sense of openness to what they were hearing. As you know, you may well know, that each one of us that participates in the Synod has 4 minutes to speak. It's an intervention, and so in my intervention, I spoke about the first chapter, the first part of this Instrumentum Laboris, the Synod document, and I spoke on listening differently, and how important it is for us as church to listen differently to our youth who are present in the church with us, our youth who will help co-create our future. And so I challenged ourselves, all of us at the Synod, to see if we could let go of some of our traditional views of youth. That they're not ready, they're not responsible, they're not mature, they're not reliable, perhaps. And that we could really embrace their ideas. Listen to them with a different type of openness. Greater openness than we've ever had before. And I have to say that I have experienced that in the Synod room and in our small groups. How can I tell it's happening in the Synod room? You can tell by the response of all of us to a given person's intervention. So, naturally, as in any large group of 300 people, when some people speak, they might receive a little longer applause. When the young people speak, the applause is very strong. You know, they offer new ideas, fresh ideas. They challenge us. But so do some of the bishops and cardinals. Some of them have come with very fresh ideas, very new ideas, challenging ideas. And actually, the youth and the bishops and the cardinals, many of them are speaking about the role of women in the church, as well as the role of youth in the church. So it's a spirit of a synod focused on youth, but also a spirit of openness to a future church that we really want to create together. I would just like to share with you some other thoughts relative to some bishops and some cardinals in their reflections actually use the word call to conversion. You know, that's a term that we use often in religious life in the church, our call to conversion. And in fact, I can say after these 2 weeks, I have seen people in my small group, which is about 30 of us, converted to a new way of thinking. I'm sure it's happening in the large room also. You know, you can see by the expressions on people's faces. The youth are very responsible, first of all, but they have offered such great insights and have told us quite candidly about their context. Unfortunately, in our church and in religious life even at times, we have made decisions based on our thinking about someone else's context. You know, I might not be living in it, but I'm making decisions for my sisters that are living in it. You know, and the youth keep reminding us that we need to know their context, their reality. And they have shared their reality very powerfully, shared the pain they have suffered because of their context in various parts of the world. Not a context that the church has created, but their reality sociologically speaking, politically speaking, economically speaking, familial, because of their family situation. So they have showed us how important it is to be transparent, to be honest, to really share our given reality, and with that, to then move forward together. You know, one of the youth spoke about youth as a time of as a place of holy ground. For many of us, we use that term in religious life often. You know, I'll say to my sisters, you know, I'm here on holy ground with you. Now the youth were reminding us that they too are part of the holy ground of the church. So we have amazing young people with us, and in the small groups, which is really where we have more dialogue time. There's no, in the synod hall, as you would imagine, it's not a dialogue. You know, people speak and we listen. But in our small group, we have great moments of dialogue. A lot of theological reflections, a lot of bantering back and forth. It's wonderful. And the youth are listened to as equally strongly as the bishops, cardinals, as the sisters. All of us are on an equal playing field when we're in our small groups. And that was a great, great gift, is a great gift for us. I wasn't quite sure in the beginning, because like everything, we have, you know, rules, you know, how you proceed in all these large meetings. And if you read the paper, you would wonder. But the reality is, it's just like us sitting here sharing with you. Everyone speaks, and all their ideas are often accepted as amendments to the document, whether they're to youth, a sister, or a bishop or a cardinal. So it's been a wonderful experience, and I thank you for your support of the Synod and for your wanting to listen to us. And I'm very grateful, of course, for the prayers that the Church is offering for the grace of the Synod. And so now, Sister Lucy.
Okay, my experience at the Synod, as Sister Sally says, is a wonderful experience. But I would like to share also the fact that the invitation to the Synod for me was a real surprise. And I was wondering, what do I go to do over there with the cardinals, with the bishops? What do I have to offer? And It made me afraid a bit, but also curious and interested to see what's it all about. I never knew how the synod works. I know there have been many synods in the church. I have read the documents, I have followed the proceedings, but I have never thought of being part of it. So it was really a surprise. But at the end of it, I would say that it's a gift to be a participant in the Synod, and I thank the Holy Father really for this opportunity to come together and think about our young people, not only those who are in the church, but also those who are outside the church. And as a Salesian sister of Don Bosco, it's even more meaningful because our charism is the education of the young people. That's the hallmark of our contribution in the church. And I feel it's a gift given to me, and I need to make the maximum use of it. First of all, it's an experience of listening. The first days of the Synod were characterized by the word listening, and it touched me so much to hear many of the bishops acknowledge, many of us acknowledge that we have lacked listening to our young people, to our contemporary society, and to ourselves and to the Lord. And the most touching part of it was the conclusion when we came up with the word or the commitment to assume a culture of listening. I think that's the best gift we can give to our young people. Many of our young people back in Africa, in Nairobi or in Kenya, as I've said I'm from Kenya, I've been expressing the restlessness that maybe we find teachers, judges, instructors in the church. We would like to have people who listen to us, whom we listen to whom we express our views, and they are taken into account. I think the first part of the work was really a good gift to the young people. Even the young people present, listening to all of us acknowledge that we have lacked listening, and we would like to develop a listening culture to you was a wonderful gift. And the second part of our work was centered on not only listening, but the accompanying of the young people in their faith. And I thought it's true. We are thinking of accompanying young people, journeying with them to discover their vocation, discerning, helping to discern. But the experience of the Synod is really an experience of discerning what is the vocation of the church. It's where we are listening to ourselves, asking what do we have to offer to the world today. We are also trying to find out the content of our faith, of the faith we communicate. Many times the young people tell us, you communicate to us the norms, the rules, the tradition before even we encounter Jesus. A letter addressed to the Pope by a group of young people from Kenya was really focusing on that, saying we would like to encounter Jesus. We would like that the church communicates Jesus to us, but not the rules, the traditions before they communicate the joy of having Jesus. And now we are really discovering that maybe we have fallen short of that. We have assumed maybe the logic of the serpent in the Genesis that was focusing on what the Lord said not to do, but did not tell what the Lord has offered. So this is a great experience, and I really thank the Lord. I thank the Pope for this initiative. I thank the UISG for giving me the possibility to be a delegate and participate in the Synod. So thank you to you also for making it possible to listen to us. Thank you.
Yo todavía estoy sorprendida de por qué estoy aquí. No me lo acabo de creer. A primeros de julio recibí la invitación oficial, pero antes un jesuita con el que yo trabajé aquí en Fe y Alegría Italia, también hay Fe y Alegría aquí en Italia, con inmigrantes latinoamericanos, en Roma, en Génova y en Milán. Me escribió un día y me dijo: he dado tu nombre para que participes en el sínodo, por ahí te llaman. Y yo dije: por ahí me llaman, bueno, no me van a llamar. Yo dejé ahí, pasaron 2 meses y me volvió a decir: se me ha comunicado informalmente que vas a participar. Y todavía, como no llegaba la comunicación oficial, no me lo acababa de creer. Y por fin, avanzando el mes de julio, llegó la comunicación oficial y estoy aquí. Bueno, tuve muchos sentimientos cuando tuve esa invitación ya formal, porque yo siempre sostengo que en la iglesia no se nos abre mucho la puerta, pero si se abre una pequeña rendija, una pequeña grita, yo entro por ahí, aunque tenga que hacer muchos equilibrios y muchos ejercicios de cintura para poder entrar. Entonces dije: es la ocasión, no puedes negarte a entrar en un ambiente que yo imaginaba clerical, no imaginaba que iba a ser tan episcopal, tan cardenalicio, tan papal, porque verdaderamente es el cúmulo del clericalismo. No lo digo como de broma, pero también otro sentimiento que traía y tengo todavía dentro de mi corazón es que estamos viviendo un momento muy delicado, muy crítico como iglesia, y yo no quería perderme esta ocasión y no quería sentarme a ver pasar la iglesia, sino sentirme parte, sentirme dentro, asumir el momento, atravesar el conflicto, este momento y lo que dure y lo que venga, y ser parte. Y entonces en ese sentido estoy contenta. Imaginaba que íbamos a ser pocas mujeres, pero no tan pocas. Lo que pasa que, bueno, somos pocas y de calidad, nos lo decimos nosotras para consolarnos. Estamos haciendo toda la fuerza que podemos para que esto cambie, para que vaya en aumento, ¿no? Cuando yo recibí la invitación me decían que iba a ser parte, soy, de la comisión de expertas y expertos. Inmediatamente que los secretarios especiales mandaron el primer saludo, yo miré enseguida los nombres y de las 25 personas éramos 3 mujeres. Dije: oh, qué proporción, bueno, vamos a ver. Entonces ya llegamos a la comisión, evidentemente somos las 3, y después ya supe que éramos las religiosas que estamos aquí y una hermana que falta. En general, en conjunto, no sé exactamente cuántas mujeres somos, pero pocas, ¿no? También tengo que decir que de mis sentimientos así, como de sospecha, de decir cómo será, pues el ambiente me va confirmando que hay 3 niveles de ambiente, yo sí lo puedo describir así. Uno es el de las sesiones plenarias, que es todo muy formal. Creo que el menos formal, con todo cariño, es el Papa, que rompe muchos protocolos, pero hay una cosa muy formal. Y uno mira la sala, ¿no? y se impresiona de cuánta vestidura roja y negra hay, de cuánta poca ropa femenina, y yo no dejo de mirar y de sorprenderme. Bueno, ahí hay un nivel de vida, ¿no?, que sale en las exposiciones, en los comentarios. Otro nivel es en los círculos menores, que yo creo que mis compañeras están de acuerdo que es otra dinámica, en parte por el número, porque los grupos son de 30 personas o de 32, y somos de la misma lengua. Bueno, todo eso facilita y va dando una relación completamente distinta. Y luego hay un círculo de vida que llamo yo, que es el de los pasillos, que es el del momento del café, que es en las salidas y las entradas, donde el Papa está allí como uno más, evidentemente, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, toda esa vida que se palpa, de los jóvenes, de las pocas mujeres, de los obispos, que también en la sesión plenaria tienen que decir lo oficial, y en los corrillos informales dice lo personal. Eso también es muy interesante, ¿no? Yo los decía, le dije a uno: ¿por qué os llamáis eminencias y reverendísimas? ¿Por qué no hablamos de Mariano y de Juan y de María? Todo más simple, más simplificado. Bueno, esas cosas que se captan en los momentos informales, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, yo que soy optimista por naturaleza, creo que estamos en un momento de mucha vida eclesial en medio de las cosas dolorosas que tenemos, y de dar a luz otra iglesia. Será muy lento porque las gestaciones y los embarazos son muy lentos, pero nacerá algo, como dice Isaías, ya está naciendo, ya está algo germinal, ya lo estamos viendo, y deseo que esto vaya más rápido, que no sea tan lento, y que podamos tener una iglesia más inclusiva. Sería un poco el resumen. Gracias.
So, thank you. Thank both of you. So now we'll give you a chance to ask any questions you would like to ask of any of the 6 of us up here. If you have any questions. Can you say who you are and where you're from?
I'm Nicole Winfield from Associated Press, and I'll say it in English and in Spanish if I can. We know that there has been a lot of discussion about greater participation of women in the church, and you, Sister, spoke about it just now. Obviously, you are working within the rules of the Synod. We know it's a Synod, but you must also know that there have been voices on the outside of the Synod who are speaking about the precedent that has been set about the 2 brothers who will have the vote, and that it is not a question of ordination. So I know it's perhaps delicate because some of you are delegates, but do you think that with this great sense of collegiality, inclusion, that it would be a not insurmountable thing in the future for the Synod process to include not only the voices of women, but also their votes?
Okay. Yes. The answer is yes. Yes, I believe that in future synods, I will not say the very next synod, but in future synods, we will probably see a change as to who votes. Now, just as you said, a synod is a synod of bishops. That's what the synod is. It's a synod of bishops, bishops and cardinals. And so, of course, they're the ones who would have the vote. It's their meeting, so to speak. But now that the synods have been opened and expanded to include lay people and sisters and brothers in the family synod and now in this synod for the youth, we believe that the church will look at that in the future and see. You are correct that the 2 brothers from USG, Union of Superiors General, the 2 brothers will be voting. They are Superiors General, and so they are, as are all of the priests, Superiors General, the other 8. I am a Superior General. I am a sister. And so in theory, logically, you would think that I would have the right to vote. But that point was not addressed prior to the synod beginning. And so we will, raise that point in the future, and we will hopefully move forward. And we may see women voting in synods. What we really want is, it's not that we want the vote, what we want is greater participation of the church in synods, in places of decision-making in the church. Just as Pope Francis says, he wants women at the table for decision-making. We know that. But we want all participations in the church, helping to make good decisions. It's not just a church of sisters or priests or bishops. It's a church of the people. And so I believe, yes, that we will see a change. It will not happen at this synod. But the other point that is important is voting is one moment in time of this 25-day synod. At the end, we vote the final document. And then the Pope will write his own document, but we'll have the final document also. It's what happens in the small groups. That's why I spoke about the small groups. It's what we influence in the small groups, how the youth participate, how we participate in the small groups, how we have conversations during the coffee breaks. That's really where a lot of decisions are made. It's not that my vote is important or not important. It's that the group is moving together to prepare and give to the people a good document.
Hi, I'm Deborah Smolbeck, and I'm with Future Church. We have a
Yes.
interview this
Interview
week.
coming up now.
So I'm I'm just reminded, so I want to go back to Nicole's question just a little bit, but also to ask some other things. You know, in 2015, we had one religious brother voting. And at that time, what I recall is that some of the male superiors from USG tried to talk to Cardinal Baldessari to see if they could give 5 of their votes away to the women religious superiors, which I thought was an incredible story in and of itself. So I wondered if you know if there's been any sort of talking in the back, you know, maybe not in front of the press, but has there been anybody talking about this again with Cardinal Baldessari in terms of, you know, now with the new document from the Pope with this Paulus Communio, his notion that there should be greater and greater synodality. It is a synod of bishops, but that's just a historical fact. And in a day and age where Pope Francis is calling for a more incisive presence for women, it seems to me it makes such logical sense to start here, where they've already opened the door to 2 male, non-ordained people to vote. Why wouldn't you just float women right in alongside them? And it makes most sense for it to be religious superior, because that's the first easiest low-hanging fruit. But you also said, so just to reiterate, we're also part of this group that's got a petition out asking people to sign to support women religious superiors to vote at the Synod. So we really want to push that at this particular moment in time. But you said that they're talking about women and youth in the small groups and at the Synod. We've heard during different press conferences, some of the young people that I've asked questions to say, there's not much talk about women at all. And so my question is, you know, if you had to sort of give a percentage to it, you know, how much is really being said about women? I mean, I know a lot is being said about youth, but maybe just in terms of young women and their experience. You know, in the U.S., they're leaving in droves. They're not showing up at the doors anymore. And maybe that's true in other countries. So how much attention is really given to this notion of why women may or may not be in church anymore, and what we can do in terms of offering them more opportunities in the church to feel engaged, to be in leadership, to make decisions?
I think we can speak only from our group. You know, we're all in different groups. Well, most of us are in different groups anyway. And so in my group, we do speak about women. Anytime there's a paragraph, you know, we look at paragraphs, paragraph by paragraph. And if we sense that it's too masculine oriented, we say something, and the group changes it. You know, if we sense that they should have said men and women, or they should change the language, we say that. For instance, there was a question about strength from Proverbs, and you know, we said this sounds very masculine, this particular way. Is there a way to rewrite it so it includes, you know, women and men, because we're talking about youth. We don't use the word male youth and female youth, you know, because we're talking about youth, which is men and women, you know, and so there's no division there. And the focus on the Synod is on youth. It's not on the women's issue and the women equality in the church. We're trying to have all youth, women and men, be engaged in the church, all their gifts being used. And you do hear that in some people's papers, and I have to say in my group it does come up, and it is supported by the men as well as the youth. But I don't know about some other groups. Right?
Yes, you also used to speak about female figure in a biblical female figure, and today also when Religiose, when we are doing the Religiose, also it mentioned quite a number of times about the female figures in the biblical the space. Yeah.
What I will say is that, you know, when the bishops and synodal fathers have to choose a subject, a topic for only 4 minutes, so they have to focus on something. But what is important is that there is a strong sense, and many people speak about the importance of going out from clericalism. So that's one of the main points of this synod. Every time we speak about accompaniment, it is mentioned that, and it's very strong, that spiritual guiding, role mentors should not be only priests, but also lay people, consecrated. So the question of women is not only one question only for women, but it's a question of a church focusing on also the role of the lay people, of the youth, a strong approach about vocations, that is, each life is a vocation. The first and common vocation is to be human, to love, to be for life. A very strong sense about the importance of the call of baptisms, the call of holiness. So a different way we are experiencing a stronger synodal church that gives its place to everybody. And so that's our feeling. I can say also in my group that I'm very impressed and touched by this very collegial working. Everyone, you are a cardinal or a young person or woman, you can just work together. Everyone is very well listened to. And that's the church we like. To be focused on the mission, and I really think that the question of women is not first an internal question. Maybe we can talk about it, but the most important for us today, and many bishops now have that in mind, it's that for mission, if we want to reach and to announce the good news, the gospel to young people who are living in a mixed world, yes, both women, the church needs to go on, and so that's the question, how to help all the youth, and when you hear the youth, especially young men, who tell you very strongly that they not only need a male figure, but they really need also women as a figure, as mentors. So the young are making the process.
Back there, yes?
Buonasera, sono Manuela Tulli dell'agenzia ANSA. Volevo tornare sul fatto del voto. So che non è tutto il sinodo, però voi siete state scelte per la vostra competenza, come diceva la sorella spagnola, siete anche poche, non vi sentite di vivere una partecipazione di serie B all'interno del sinodo con questa decisione. E poi volevo sapere da voi cosa ne pensate di questa raccolta di firme online affinché voi possiate votare, che qualcuna di voi ha anche condiviso sui social.
Sinceramente quella che è la mia esperienza è che non sento di fare, fino ad ora non mi sento di essere una partecipante di serie B, anzi, proprio perché siamo poche, forse siamo anche molto ascoltate, perché anche nel gruppo, nei circoli minori, dove appunto si diceva che avviene la parte più importante forse del processo sinodale, io devo dire che mi sento alla pari con tutti gli altri e posso anche proporre, posso scrivere, posso dialogare, rappresentiamo opinioni differenti e cerchiamo di andare fino in fondo per capire in che cosa consistono queste differenze e come possono essere superate. Quindi direi che non mi sento assolutamente fino a questo momento di essere una partecipante di serie B, anzi. Per quanto riguarda la petizione, io penso che sia c'è libertà di espressione e chi pensa che questo vada fatto, io credo che faccia bene anche a proporlo. Come è stato detto fino adesso, siamo in un processo di apertura continua e lo vediamo nel Sinodo anche giorno dopo giorno. per cui tanti piccoli tasselli possono aiutare questo cammino.
Anyone else? Oh, did you want to, wait, excuse me, go ahead, you wanted to speak?
No, quería
Sí, sí.
abundar un poco en lo que decía Alejandra, ¿no? A mí no se me ha pasado por la cabeza el tema de los votos hasta hoy, no tengo necesidad. Es más, creo que el tema de votación responde a un modo de hacer las cosas que tiene que ver más con lo varonil, con perdón de los varones que estáis aquí, lo digo con cariño, como modo distinto, que será complementario. Se está queriendo que sea más de discernimiento y por lo tanto más es en búsqueda de consensos, de escucha, será porque la comisión de expertos estamos dedicados a escuchar y a llevar a los grupos lo que escuchamos en el aula. Son dos caminos distintos. A mí los votos, que tengamos voto, que no tengamos voto, me suena más a democracia. Yo creo en la democracia, pero en este ambiente de discernimiento yo soy más partidaria de la escucha desde dentro. Nosotros en los grupos insistimos mucho en que no sea hablar y votar, sino sea discutir desde dentro, qué opciones vemos, cómo sentimos, hacia dónde somos respuesta a los jóvenes, hacia dónde somos respuesta al mundo. No sé si se ve la diferencia. Son dos modos que pueden ser complementarios quizá y que hoy por hoy parece que privan los votos, pero tenemos que ir hacia otro modo, me parece a mí, eclesialmente hablando, ¿no? Pero quizás es un sueño. Yo estos días escuchando he tenido mucha posibilidad de soñar y no quiero cortar mis sueños y volcarlos donde pueda, pero son dos modos de hacerlo, ¿no? Gracias.
Salve, buonasera, sono Dario Menor della rivista Vida Nuova e le ho fatto pure la copertina dell'ultimo numero con un megafono. Vorrei sapere, perché il Sinodo pure uno dei temi di dibattito è sulla vocazione, vorrei sapere se c'è stato qualche intervento relativo al diaconato femminile, che c'è stata proprio la WISC a proporlo qualche tempo fa, e pure se ci potete aggiornare di come va il lavoro della Commissione su questo argomento. Grazie mille.
Yes, you're correct that the UISG was instrumental in moving forward the question of women deacons. And so, yes, we did that. As far as any discussion about it in the Synod, I have to say that in my small group, it came up once. The suggestion of women deacons came up once. But in the large aula, it might have come up a couple of times in people's reports, their 4-minute interventions. 3 or 4, maybe 3 or 4 times, but not 300 times certainly. But there again, I think the tone in the aula is greater participation in general. It is the tone of greater participation in general. As far as the women deacons, it was not so specific. Did you hear any of your groups? No? In your groups? Women deacons in your small groups? No. Okay.
Ci può dire qualcosa della commissione? Yes, sorry. Can you tell us something about the commission? Because it was created a commission by the Holy Father, but we know nothing.
You haven't seen the final report.
Sorry?
You have not seen a final report.
About the commission?
Yes. No, right. Okay, so I can't tell you very much about the commission. No, I am not on the commission. But I know they have been meeting, and there may well be a report coming out, but I don't know when.
So there is a final report?
I don't know if it's final. I don't know that it's final, but there may be a report coming out. That's a little, you have to wait and see. Because, I can't, sometimes we hear things that may not be able to be verified. So be careful how you say that.
Franca Giansoldati del Messaggero. Io ho 3 questioni e vorrei avere una vostra opinione. Nei giorni scorsi il cardinale Marx ha fatto un intervento in cui ha toccato, a proposito della questione femminile, ha toccato indirettamente anche il tema degli abusi del clericalismo e ha sostenuto che se ci fossero delle donne ai posti di vertice o comunque ci fosse appunto questa inclusività, ci sarebbero meno problemi, e io vorrei sapere che cosa ne pensate di questo. Questa è la prima questione. La seconda questione ha a che fare con un po' di tempo fa c'è stato un arresto di un vescovo in India che ha abusato di una suora. Gli abusi sulle suore spesso ritornano, anche se purtroppo non emergono sui media, rimangono magari all'interno dell'USG o comunque sono dei report che arrivano in Vaticano nel silenzio. Io vorrei sapere appunto anche una valutazione vostra di questo fenomeno del Me Too, no? Il tema degli abusi sulle donne. E poi l'ultima questione: un po' di tempo fa c'è stata una denuncia molto, molto forte, anche molto coraggiosa, da parte di Lucetta Scarafia, che ha affrontato il tema della discriminazione femminile sul mensile dell'Osservatore Romano, in un articolo molto profondo, vasto, articolato, in cui sostanzialmente diceva che c'è più che proprio una discriminazione, lei addirittura si lamentava e dava voce anche a chi non aveva voce sul fatto che ci sono tante religiose che hanno titoli, hanno capacità, hanno un background notevolissimo e sono sempre non di serie B ma di serie C, costrette a fare le colf, ha usato proprio questo termine. Anche su questo tema vorrei avere la vostra opinione, grazie.
Yo soy de la opinión, bueno, el tema de los abusos, yo me dedico ahora, soy educadora por congregación y por vocación personal, y además me dedico desde la espiritualidad ignaciana, acompañamiento espiritual, ejercicios espirituales. Quiero decir, escucho a muchas personas desde dentro y que hablan desde dentro. Tristemente, abusos hay muchísimos en todos los ámbitos de la sociedad, incluida la Iglesia, que no se escapa. Pero cuando uno escucha, como digo, desde dentro de las personas, perdón, y escucha estas historias que muchas veces son domésticas y otras veces son en el ámbito laboral o en el ámbito universitario, es decir, en todos los ambientes, no se escapa ningún ambiente. Si estuviésemos más mujeres, si estuviésemos más religiosas, yo creo que lo normal o la normalidad de convivencia, el otro día lo decía yo en mi grupo, es mucho más rico sumarnos y tener la diversidad que somos en la humanidad, no hacer grupos separados, no solamente eclesiásticos, solamente laicos, solamente... No, yo creo que tenemos, yo por ejemplo que doy ejercicios en Entre Culturas, todos los ejercicios son abiertos, quiere decir, hay profesores, yo participo en una asociación creyente de Madrid, de gays y lesbianas, Crismón, hay heterosexuales, hay homosexuales, hay divorciados, hay solteros, hay casados, hay monjas, o sea, lo que es el pueblo de Dios. Yo el otro día en mis sueños dije en mi grupo, ¿por qué no hacemos, porque siempre es sínodo de obispos, ¿por qué no hacemos sínodo de pueblo de Dios, donde seamos todos y todas presentes? La jerarquía también, claro, es parte del pueblo, pero más abierto. Entonces, yo dije, sumarnos para trabajar, sumarnos para buscar, sumarnos para discernir, sumarnos para luchar, para sufrir, es mucho más rico que no hacer solo grupos cerrados, ¿no? Los problemas de abusos se resuelven, mi interrogante es grandísimo, a nivel de clero, a nivel de familias, a nivel de sociedad, es complejísimo. Es cierto que el clero yo creo que tiene que tener otra formación, otro modo, no solo de seminario, sino después del seminario, dónde están, dónde se ponen, quién los acompaña, porque yo vivo en comunidad y mal que bien me peleo con mis hermanas, pero tengo compañía, tengo una comunidad, y el sacerdote está condenado a estar solo, o sea que también hay muchas cosas que revisar, creo, que van a veces encadenadas unas con otras, ¿no? Ya me he perdido en tus preguntas, que eran todas interesantes. Yo también leí lo del el suplemento, ¿no? De este. A veces, tristemente, hay que decirlo, que las mismas religiosas, yo lo tengo hablado con muchas hermanas, ponemos o no ponemos las condiciones para que eso se dé. ¿Me explico? Si a mí me dicen, el obispo ha dicho que tienes que hacer esto y lo otro, muy bien, que me llame el obispo y hablamos como gente adulta en la iglesia, ¿no? Y a veces decimos, al obispo no le gusta, el obispo no sé qué, y entonces ya nos plegamos. Entonces es culpa nuestra. Pero también muchas veces hay abuso de poder, ¿no? Y de que, bueno, pues esta sirve para esto y no sirve para lo otro. Y entonces, es por ambas partes, yo creo. O sea, tenemos que luchar mucho y tenemos que prepararnos mucho y tenemos que afrontar mucho la realidad para decir, a ver, todos somos aquí adultos, todos estamos luchando por colaborar en un mundo mejor, etcétera, etcétera, ¿no? Y nadie es más que nadie, o sea, nos lo creemos, que todos somos, que todos necesitamos ser reconocidos en nuestra igualdad y en nuestra dignidad. Si nos lo creemos, luchamos. Si no nos lo creemos, dejamos que alguien ocupe el espacio. Y enseguida que dejamos el espacio, bien ocupado. Eso ya lo sabemos, ¿no? En todos los órdenes.
Dico qualcosa sulla terza, innanzitutto parlo da suora donna economista. E una delle cose che una volta ho scritto è che quando sono a convegni di economia, forse parlo di un contesto tutto italiano, non mondiale spero, quello che mi colpisce non è essere l'unica suora, ma a volte essere l'unica donna in un tavolo di relatori. Quindi il problema è ben più profondo che semplicemente nella Chiesa, questo del donne che a parità di titoli di studio, a parità di competenze e di capacità a volte devono lottare un po' di più per far riconoscere e per poter dare il proprio contributo. Quindi ci terrei a sottolineare che è una questione più generale. Il Gender Gap Report del World Economic Forum fa notare come in nessun ambito, se parliamo di istruzione, salute, economia e politica, non esiste una nazione del mondo dove si è raggiunta la parità o ci sono pari opportunità per uomini e donne. Quindi direi che questo tema fa parte di un qualcosa di ben più ampio di cui abbiamo bisogno sia di parlare ma anche di lavorare molto perché non è più il tempo che ci siano queste, penso anche discriminazioni. Credo che dipenda forse anche da noi donne, che forse a volte siamo un po' timide anche nel proporci e invece c'è bisogno di uscire un po' di più allo scoperto. E non è per occupare posti, ma perché, e lo dimostrano anche le statistiche, quando nelle aziende il clima è più plurale, le aziende funzionano meglio. Quando le organizzazioni hanno uomini e donne, funzionano meglio che organizzazioni dove ci sono solo donne o soli uomini. E quindi mi riallaccio anche con la questione sull'intervento del Cardinal Marx che è stato pubblicato e si può leggere, quindi che il tema è proprio quello, credo, del clericalismo e che non basta mettere donne ai posti di vertice per spezzare questo ciclo, perché non basta essere donne per rompere un ciclo di clericalismo se occupare un posto vuol dire avere un potere. È una struttura che deve cambiare e credo soprattutto che c'è bisogno, come Papa Francesco continua a ripetere, di intendere ruoli e ministeri della Chiesa come servizi e non come luoghi dove si acquista un potere. Nella misura in cui ci si mette al servizio della Chiesa, nel caso del Sinodo, dei giovani, della gente, dei poveri, allora questo può spezzare i circoli e questo può rendere naturale che i ruoli siano ricoperti da uomini, donne, non importa da chi, ma se tutto viene vissuto con lo spirito del servizio.
Yes, maybe I can just share after that I really think that the question for today is that we see that things are changing. There are new ways of relationships between men and women with a more equal view, kind of parity. But we know that in many societies this movement is not finished, you know, and it depends also on culture. But I would like also to share church is inside the society, inside the culture, so I completely agree with what Sister Alessandra said. And now we are trying, and it's not finished, to find the good way in a spirit of partnership, yes, to work together, that's the main question, to collaborate in this plurality, and men and women in what is fundamental diversity and structural difference. So, but we see that not only in the church, but also, yes, in many firms, in the world of cinema, it's not so easy to find this way to be together in a real partnership, collaboration, and not one who dominates the other. But we feel that it is a sign of the times, you know, and that what is very interesting, when I was in the pre-synod for those youth generation, they live this spirit of collaboration and partnership in a very natural way. You know. So it's also a question of generation. And I really think that the youth generation, they live and they grew up in a plural world. So that's their way of life, to be in the diversity, not only men and women, it's something very important, but cultural diversity, and they like, most of them, diversity, and they help us to discover how to collaborate more in a real partnership and co-responsibility way of doing things, and to be in the mission together. So it's very interesting.
You also, I believe you also asked, if I understood your Italian, that what was UISG, is UISG doing anything about abuse of sisters or of women? Did you, I think that was what she had asked, okay. So, yes, if UISG receives any reports about a sister being abused or harmed, we immediately would take that, and do take that, to the appropriate congregation or dicastery so that they can pursue that.
Hi, I'm Elise Harris with Crux News Site. I had just two questions. Number one, given the array of things we've talked about, are you guys optimistic about the way things are going? I mean, given your experience in the Synod, I mean, you've all seemed very positive about the direction the church is going in terms of the inclusion of women, and then continuing to get a voice. So is that accurate? Are you guys optimistic with the way things are going in terms of women's inclusion in the church? But also I wanted to ask if you think there's maybe a broader theme here that's laity in general, because until recently there were no laymen even appointed to Vatican dicasteries. So, number one, are you optimistic? Number two, do you think there's a wider topic that also needs to be included in this discussion?
I am very optimistic about youth and about how the Youth Synod is moving for a greater participation of youth, laity, in the church. That the church hopefully is committed to help youth go through their journey of vocation, meaning vocation in the broadest sense, living their relationship with God, and how to live that in the dailiness of their lives, whether it's as, you know, a family member, as a religious, as a priest, whatever it might be. As far as the women's issue in the church, that is not the focus of the Youth Synod. And as I said, because I come from a country where women's issues have been, very much in the forefront for generations, when I first arrived in Rome, I found it to be less women-friendly than it is now. So I have now lived here for 8 years and worked with UISG and the dicasteries, and I have to say that women at the table helping to make decisions, that there are more women in the dicasteries and congregations helping to make decisions. Is there a woman cardinal? No. Who would be the prefect of a congregation? No, they're all cardinals. But are they the ones who are working the ideas and getting things done and bringing those to the cardinal and archbishop, the cardinal prefect and archbishop secretary? Yes. And are they being replaced by more women? Yes. And are we, UISG, pushing for more women? Yes. Is it slow? Yes. But, everything in Rome is slow. It's a different culture. The Italian culture moves a little bit more slowly than maybe in the United States. But, yes, so, it is small steps, but definitely there is a change. Definitely there is a change.
I just want to give you a very concrete sign. Maybe you have seen that it was 3 or 4 days ago, they published the appointment of new members for the dicastery of life, laity and families. And look at that, because the list of members is very diverse from each continent, and there are many laymen. So 2 of my counterparts, with whom I know very well, I have very good collaboration from them. A young man who is the responsible for youth pastoral care at the German Bishop Conference, Paul Metzlaff, has been appointed. Another one from Australia, Malcolm Hart, who has been working for many years at the Australian Bishop Conference, is the director of the youth office, has also been appointed. A lay married man from France, Laurent Landete, who was responsible for Emmanuel Community. It's another profile. So it's interesting because yes, I really think that, and as I have told you, we have to, yes, the question of woman is inside also the question of lay people, the question of just being church with all the components, in this synodal way. And we really feel, and that's our experience, and we are grateful for that, synodality is really going on. And so it's...
Yo quería decir 2 anécdotas que ilustran un poco. Yo he dicho antes que soy optimista y lo sigo siendo, pero este optimismo convive con cierto nerviosismo que me entra cuando veo que las cosas son tan lentas y quisiera otro ritmo. Y el otro día estábamos cansados de la sesión de escucha y entonces yo dije, esto es una tortuga enorme. Y entonces mi compañero me miró, se rió y dije, pero es una tortuga además patriarcal, o sea, como más pesada todavía, como que no se mueve, como que cuesta moverla. Pero digo, esto convive con mi optimismo, con la esperanza y el compromiso. Yo me estoy jugando, no tengo nada que perder, mi congregación ya me conocen, llevo 50 y tantos años y no me han echado, o sea que no tengo nada que perder, ya estoy jugada. Entonces con el compromiso de que la cosa mejore y cambie en ritmo, ¿no? Y otra anécdota que el otro día comentaba yo, todo es padre y sinodale, padre y sinodale. Yo dije, soy sinodal, pero no soy padre, está muy claro. Tenemos que defender nuestro ser femenino. Bueno, esto para que nos riamos un poco, porque las sesiones de escucha también nos cansan y supongo que a ustedes también.
Thank you. So I think we need to, it's been over an hour now, so probably we need to call this general session to a close. We are very grateful for your questions, for your interest, for your reporting, and we ask you, we know that you try to report with great respect and accurately, and we appreciate that. And so if you want to interview anyone individually, you can ask us, at the end, but we just want to close with that. And thank you very much, and we thank Vatican for allowing us to be here tonight, and we thank you, ISD. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.